everyone. Hi, Sarah.
And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I am so delighted to be hosting our very first cozy author of this 21-month series now, live from London. Amita Murray here to give us the scoop on her brand new book, in the Aria Winter series. Amita, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about your book.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and I've got all the sort of the festive sparkle going.
Gorgeous.
Here. Yeah, I feel like we need to be a little bit festive. Things are a bit grim in London, I'll tell you that. And so, we need a little bit of cheering up. Here's my book. I'm so excited about this. Okay, so let me try and tell you about this. When I first submitted it, before Prolis took it on, Prolis are fantastic, but before they took it on, an editor turned it down saying how much she loved it, but that there was too much sex and swearing. And I felt like, wow, she's got me. She's understood me.
Exactly.
Me, right?
You're like, I'm sorry, too much. There's
too much.
Never
what does that
enough.
mean? Next, you'll say there's too much chocolate. Like what? There is no such thing.
No such
anyway,
thing.
That was the thing. And I feel like, I could just put that on a t-shirt. Too much sex and swearing. My main problem. So
I would buy that
t-shirt.
That
was the reason for not taking it on. But the whole thing was there's too much sex and swearing. I know there is no such thing, right, Stephanie? I get you. You get me.
This is Bookstagrammer extraordinaire Stephanie Cooper, who is on Instagram as Fire Pit and Books. She writes incredible reviews, chiming in saying, "Is there such a thing as too much sex and swearing?" Stephanie, welcome to the conversation. Clearly, you're one of us because there ain't enough.
You've got me, Stephanie. You've got me, Stephanie, and Sarah both. So I kind of laughed and thought, goodness, that's me pegged then. They'll be putting that in anything that's ever written about me. So the thing is this, okay, it's a villagey mystery, right? So what is kind of known as a cozy. Well, what is a cozy anyway? So it's set in a village near London, so on the outskirts of London. And the book absolutely has certain elements that you would normally find in a cozy, villagey murder mystery. And those are that it has that claustrophobic kind of feel where everyone is in your face, everyone is in your business all the time. You know everyone, and you recognize all the people in the village. So it's got that feel to it. It also has this thing that I think will be a feature in everything I write, which is psychological motivation. Like what made you do this? Why did somebody turn to crime? Like that's quite a big thing to do, right? So I'm not the kind of person who can write. I'll tell you, I can't write, drug cartels and spies and agents and everyone going from France to China to everywhere, to Ghana. Yeah, I can't do that. So I do better with simmering psychological motivation. What is it that made Murder by the Book? I love Murder by the Book. They're so good. So it's got that, which I think is the sort of the cozy villagey side of things. It's got a protagonist that is a baker by living. Yeah. And then but it does something different from what we normally think of as a cozy mystery, and that is that that's the too much sex and swearing. I feel that it's a millennial twist. It's a millennial kind of Fleabag kind of twist on the cozy, which means that the concerns of the book, the main concerns of the book are the concerns of millennials. What do we care about? Anxiety. I feel like our generation invented anxiety, millennials. We worry, we dream big, we want big things, but then we worry we won't get them. That's a kind of a defining feature, I think. We want love and sex and romance, but we want it on our own terms. We get it wrong all the time. We think we've found it when we've had too many cocktails, but then turns out we haven't found it. We worry about loneliness, and we experience it, and we often don't know what to do with it. We don't know what to do about it, and we sometimes do things that actually make us more lonely rather than less. So the book is concerned with all these things that millennials are usually concerned about and that we obsess about, which makes it a bit of a twist on the cozy, I'd say.
Ooh, well, I can't wait to get into every delicious, dirty detail with you, Amita. Stephanie says she's here for the t-shirts. I am too. Too Much Sex is wearing. Get them printed. You've got 2 buyers already in the queue.
Ooh, I'll make it like this, right? I'll make it purple and with the yellow sorted with tiramisu on there as well.
Yes,
yeah, that's it.
Fabulous. So y'all, if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, welcome. We're so excited to have you. Here's the drill. Every Monday for #Mystery Monday, because you know Mondays can be murder, I give you my 2 handpicked featured authors, and you get to ask them anything. So ask Amita, who's joining us live from London, about her writing process, about cozies, about the difference between writing a cozy and a non-cozy, writing a mystery and a non-mystery. Ask her about Aria Winters. Ask her about tiramisu. My God, we got a lot of questions. Get them going in the comments. I'll get them right on over to her. And oh my goodness, Stephanie Cooper saying she can make the t-shirts for you, Amita. Who knew? All right, this is happening. You're all witnessing this happening live and in real time. Absolutely fantastic. Stephanie, let's talk after. Anissa is saying, hello, Sara and Amita, top community member there of Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Anissa, welcome. Always a pleasure to have you.
Hi,
and
Anissa.
Yay. And Leslie is saying hello from Canada. That's her signature Canadian.
Ooh, from Canada. Hi.
Yay. Top community member there as well. Stephanie was saying hi. Sorry, I missed that before, Steph. Great to have you all here. So if you have questions for Amita, get them going in the comments. And if you'd like to continue the conversation after the interview, hop on over to our private Facebook group, Mystery and Thriller Mavens, free and open to all, and join. That's where we dish all the good stuff. I'm putting the link in the comments in case you want to come join us. Stephanie's saying Divine Bling is her. I'm picturing these t-shirts as just getting more and more fabulous.
Sparkly. Yeah, I'm imagining sparkle. Lots of sequins.
Yeah, exactly. I'm seeing sparkle. I mean, I love to see what people come up with in real time. So this is going to be so cool. Welcome, Stephanie. Welcome, Patty. Welcome, everybody. Let us know if you have any questions for Miss Amita. I'm going to kick off because I've got a few, but I want to kick off first with one of the many amazing reviews you got. So Library Journal said Aria Winters, with all of her anxiety, is an intriguing narrator. And the reason I want to start with this one is because we were just talking about anxiety. I have struggled with anxiety my whole life. I still do. So I love seeing heroines on the page who also wrestle with this. I love seeing that start to appear. So let's talk about, why was this important to you to portray?
I mean, anxiety, I certainly feel it. I certainly feel it, and I feel it in different ways. I feel it sometimes just as this thing that's just there. That's this just kind of takes over everything, and you can't sort of you try and talk yourself out of it and think, oh, surely that's nothing. But over a period of days, or sometimes it can be weeks, if you're going through a rough time or if you're tired, you can't talk yourself out of it. It's just there. It's just there all the time, right? It's ticking along all the time. So there's that. I mean, there's personal experience of anxiety. I also think that social anxiety especially is something that, a lot of us struggle with. And in the last couple of years of the pandemic, I think it's become really clear how many of us struggle with social anxiety. And weird, I mean, social anxiety is so weird, because I find I'm a weird one, because I don't necessarily feel anxious before or even during an event. Sometimes it's afterwards that I'll come back and I'll think about stuff, and why did I say that? And I shouldn't have said that. And maybe I should do this better next time. Or what did they think? I hope I didn't hurt their feelings, or all this kind of session in the middle of the night. So that is a weird kind of anxiety, because it's not necessarily the way we think about anxiety, which is beforehand or during something. right? So it's kind of mulling over things afterwards. So I'm queen of that. I'm really good at that.
I also specialize in that. 3 a.m. Why did I say that thing 7 years ago? I'm still not over it.
What is that about, right? That is the
Yeah.
thing. It's not even like what happened in the thing I did today, the workshop or the party. It's like years ago. And sometimes I find, I don't know if this happens to other people, but sometimes a thought will just fizz in your brain about something that happened in the past, and instantly your tummy clenches and you're feeling and so it can hit you from the past like that, and things that you sometimes even think to yourself you've resolved because you're this mature, I've done this, I've dealt with my stuff, and then it still keeps on hitting you. So I felt like it's actually really important to me to write characters that experience anxiety or social anxiety. And with Aria, the funny thing is she deals with it maybe uh, differently from how maybe I deal with it, because I feel like if I'm feeling anxious, I'll get sort of more sort of friendlier almost. I'll try and kind of cope with it by becoming more confident and friendly. And Aria keeps people at a distance. She'll just say things that are putting off, or will put people at a greater distance to her. She desperately wants to belong, but kind of almost, she shields herself, puts barriers up by saying things that are a bit cutting or that are a bit rude, or they're not dishonest. She's very honest. She's painfully honest. And we're not used to that. We're used to politeness. We're used to not being painfully honest, and we're used to covering what we think with politeness sometimes. So I quite like it that she's the kind of forthright person that will, that she's so painfully honest, and you feel for her, because at times it's against her own best interest. And I kind of want to be like that. I want to be that kind of painfully honest person, but it's quite hard because we're so used to, oh, this will hurt somebody, I better not say that, or I should be, the polite thing or the right thing in this situation is this. So I quite like exploring characters who don't care about those conventions and just do the thing. They say the wrong thing at the wrong time.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Shay with the hobbies. Welcome back to the conversation. Good to see you, girl. She's saying, ooh, can't wait to learn more about this series. You're in the right place, Shay. Welcome to the conversation.
Hi, Jay.
Anissa would like to know, Amita, you have had a lot of different jobs. Is writing your favorite one? And if yes, why? Great question, Anissa. Amita, give us the skinny.
Oh, thank you, Anissa. The funny thing is, writing is the one that stayed constant. It's the constant. It's that I feel like there's two sides of me that maybe is true for a lot of people, that we have the solitary side that kind of wants to just sit down and do their thing, and that's my writer side, and that's always there. But then I have the more social side that I want to work with teams, and I want to do sort of projects and that kind of stuff. So that's the side that keeps sort of morphing at times. That's the side that changes. And I have a job at the moment that I quite enjoy, which is working at a university where I kind of really try and promote diversity in the arts, in the arts industries and writing in the arts. So I like that job, but it gives me a chance to get dressed and get out and change out of my pajamas and meet real people and be in a team. So I quite like that, because I feel like, okay, so this is another confession. It's a weird one, even more weird maybe, but like,
leaning in for the weird confession.
Yeah. Okay. It's not that weird. I've oversold it. It's just
the weirder, the better. I mean, and now
neurotic.
you've got to make it even weirder.
A little bit neurotic. So, okay, so if you get an invitation to a party or something, at the time I get the invitation, I think, oh, great. Or an event, social event, book event, whatever. And I think, oh, great. Yeah, that'd be great. Put it on the calendar. On the day, I will then talk myself out. I will try and talk myself out of going. And I will spend the whole day trying to come up with a plausible reason, and not plausible for anyone else, but plausible to me. Like, I've convinced myself that there's a good reason not to go, whether that's a deadline or there's going to be a storm. There's going to be a storm. There are no London. I mean, there's the occasional storm. It's not that stormy. But I will convince myself out of going many times, or I will really have to kind of go, okay, I need to go. And then I really enjoy it. But I will do that to myself. So, I kind of have to have that other job that's a non-writing, non-solitary job where I can go out and meet people, which I love. I absolutely love, I love meeting people, spending time with people, being in a team with people. But that solitary side of me, that feels really real when I'm by myself and writing, and all there is the book and me. That's a real, it's the child in me that used to read all the time and read novels all the time. It's that side of me. So yeah, I've had all the jobs where I can go out and actually meet people and, occasionally wear something nice, which the pandemic, obviously, tricky.
Now, Amita, let's go a little deeper into this. That committing to something, being excited about it, and then on the day of trying to get out of it is a cycle I know well. Now, do you think that's from your social anxiety? You don't want to make another awkward encounter that you'll have to relive for the next 7 years, or are you actually afraid that a storm will come in? Which is the basis of your anxiety?
I don't know, because at the time that I'm trying to talk myself out of it, I'm not necessarily conscious of the anxiety that I'm going to be conscious of afterwards. So I'm not necessarily kind of going, oh, like that. I don't know what it is. I think there is something so enticing about kind of, that feeling of me with a book, that's such I used to read so much as a child and growing up, and that feeling, and kind of sit down with a hot drink and a little bite of chocolate, and that is such a comforting feeling to me. That's so me, that sometimes I think weirdly I enjoy being around people, and I enjoy social occasions sometimes so much that it's overwhelming. That's what I mean. This is weird.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Thank you for your transparency and letting us in, because I think that having these kinds of really honest, really open conversations is where it allows all of us to start having a more global conversation and normalizes something that most of us probably are feeling. So this is amazing, Amita.
Thank you. I also think, Sarah, I was going to say, just to add to that the last couple of years, when we've been Zooming all the time, which is such a new thing actually, but we've had to adapt to it so quickly. I think social anxiety has changed. Some people feel more online, some people feel less online. Yes. It's weird. It's changed us. It's changed how we kind of interact with people.
It has indeed. It really has. Amita, another amazing review that you got was from Publishers Weekly, and they raved. This superior cozy from Mary turns the genre on its head in this wryly witty and at times poignant outing. So first of all, congratulations on praise well earned. That's amazing. But let's delve into every little bit of this. So first of all, again, you're our first cozy author. I've hosted 175 authors. You're my first cozy, which I'm so excited to finally be delving into this sub genre. And as you said at the beginning, there are some parts of this that are, so for those friends who aren't familiar, I know we got a lot of cozy fans, but for those who aren't familiar with the genre, you start off by saying that there are sort of cozy standards. It's a village. So maybe it's a little fishing village in Maine, or, North Carolina, or somewhere in, the lovely, area outside of London, or somewhere in England. There's often a lot of baking. So why do you think that is? And what made you want to dip into the genre, but then turn it on its head, as Publishers Weekly says?
I love what you do with your visuals and all the quotes, by the way, Sarah, I must say. I'm so terrible at things like that, so I really admire it. It's brilliant.
Oh my God, thank you.
It's great. I have to say that as a writer, I don't know, maybe other writers do think about this, but I don't necessarily think of, this genre, and am I being sort of a purist when I'm writing this, or am I changing it, or am I turning it on its head? I wasn't thinking about any of that. When I was writing it, I was bringing together things I love, or that are important to me. So Agatha Christie novels, that kind of feeling of, you have a few named characters, all of them could have done it. All of them have motivations, all of them, have some trauma or some secret they're dealing with. One of them did it, but which one? So that kind of mystery I really love. I love my thing is characters. I love characters. I like developing characters. That's my main thing. And so really getting to know a character and thinking, what they could have done it. Oh, I like that one so much. I hope they didn't do it. All of that kind of stuff I really love. So that's part of the Agatha Christie kind of model I quite like. So that was part of it. But then, we are lucky. We're of a generation that's watched Fleabag recently, and we've watched. We've gone past we will never get past Agatha Christie, no, but we don't necessarily need our Village mysteries to be so I don't even know. To be so sedate, to be so complacent. I think we need to push it a bit. And having done it, I'm saying it. I didn't think of this when I was doing it. But I do think that a younger audience is ready to read that, but they need more. They need more from it. So I think that's part of it. Having those psychological claustrophobic motivations where each character has a secret that they're grappling with, and anyone could have done it, but then trying to figure out who did it. But add to that kind of the zingy, kind of sexy millennial, Aria is such a, she's so forthright about sex, for example. That's not something you'd see in a cozy, No. So this isn't too much of a spoiler. It happens pretty early on, but she has a love interest in this called Branwell. Coming from Branwell, Bronte, Bronte sisters, Branwell. And so she meets him, and, there's clearly an attraction there. There's clearly chemistry there. And he says, come over for coffee later, and if you like. And she knocks on his door that night. She's feeling really, really anxious because of various things that have been going on. She's extremely anxious. She's just, sort of really kind of going a bit crazy when she goes to him. She knocks on the door, and he's really happy to see her. And she says, and he says, okay, so do you want to come in for coffee? And she says, can we just go to bed? And this is the day they've met, right? And he's like, should we just have coffee first? And she's like, but you invited me around. And he's like, I just invited you for coffee. She's like, but you meant bed. And he's like, no, I didn't. I just meant coffee. So they have this interaction. He's going to be around for a few books. But they have this lovely chemistry as well. But she's so forthright that I like that, admire that about her. But she's also someone who's more comfortable almost with sex than with closeness, emotional closeness. So how is she going to develop that with, that's kind of one of the things that the books figure out. And I think that's new for a cozy mystery series.
Yeah, exactly. So a traditional cozy would never show a sexually confident heroine. It would never show a woman who wants to have sex, enjoys having sex, is sexually the pursuer. You would, you might see a kiss and then it would sort of fade to black.
Yeah, thank you. You nailed it. You just nailed it. You just said it there. Like, why are we so stuck in those tropes of kind of the women, women are a bit squeamish about it, don't want to talk about it, and the funny thing is, I think we are stuck in that sometimes in real life as well. And I think we need to break those. We need consensual relationships, but where women are able to say stuff, where they can express what they want and their desires. And I think that's really important.
Amen. Amen. Stephanie saying, I am super intrigued. I'm adding this book to my TBR. Please post the links there. Of course, Stephanie's an amazing book reviewer and book blogger. So Steph, hoping you're loving it, hoping you will love it. And I am posting the link because y'all, treat yourself. You're doing all that holiday hustling. You're doing everything for everybody else. You're buying everything for everybody else. You're wrapping, you're cooking, you're serving, you're taking care. What about you, fam? What about you? So treat yourself. Grab this book. Stephanie, thank you for the question. Now, Amita, let's talk about writing a sexy and swearing filled book. Did it ever pop into you? Oh God, what if my aunties see this? What if my mom sees this? Just picturing your mom enjoying it, perhaps. I mean, were you cringing or were you like, enjoy it, mom?
It's a good question. I have to say, the funny thing is, I think I have to shut off all the voices if I'm doing that. And I say too much sex and swearing. There isn't that much swearing, for heaven's sake. And there's like pleasant, there's good sex, there's fun sex. There's not so much like a horrible kind of nasty Game of Thrones sex. I bet all these people that say there's too much sex have probably been watching Game of Thrones the whole time when it was on. And no, so it's not too much. It's just the right amount. So that's what I'm going to put on the t-shirt, just the right amount of sex. Okay. So what I'd say is, I do tend to shut that off because I feel like, you can't be true to yourself if you're also listening to everyone else's kind of ideas about what's right to write and what's not. That said, there was a previous book, so my parents love reading my books. What I have noticed is that when it's a sort of a book that doesn't have much sex in it, my dad's like, yeah, loved it, it's amazing. And my mom's like, yeah, loved it. When there is a bit of sex in it, my mom is still like, yeah, loved it. And my dad's a bit like, yeah, it was good. He's just a little bit more held back. So I just
he doesn't want to picture his daughter knocking on someone's door and the guy saying, care for a cup of coffee, and she's like no, actually straight to the boudoir.
I don't want coffee. That's not what I came around for. It'll just make me more anxious. I have to sort of, I realized that, I do credit Fleabag for some of the stuff that we can now do because, the hot priest situation, you can't, that's not something that I would have thought somebody would get away with. And on television, I think brilliant, open that door and then do all the crazy stuff that comes into your head. And I feel like as a writer, you have to do that to some extent. You have to shut off, there's this great, Anne Lamott, who wrote the book Bird by Bird. One of the things she says is you have to write as if your parents, aren't looking over your shoulder. And I think, we kind of have to live our lives like that. We have to kind of live our lives as if our parents, aren't watching over our shoulder, because then we make decisions for us rather than for what we were taught is the right thing to do. So yeah.
Excellent. Another great question coming through. This one from Ben. He's saying, hi, Amita. Great to see you. Questions. Does Aria say things you wish you said? And 2, when you're writing, does she sometimes shock you as laugh out loud shock you? So let's break that down bit by bit. Start with the first part first, please.
Hi, Ben. So good to see you. So Ben, there are times where I feel like and I say this in the book, that we use politeness not as a way of connecting with somebody, but as a way of keeping our distance, really, like our emotional distance. So we might be friendly with somebody because we've been nice to them or polite to them, but I feel like on a deeper emotional level, we are at a distance from them because we're not saying what's really on our mind. And so for me, Aria does that. She says what's on her mind, and the people who can stand it are the ones that stay in her life, and the ones that can't tolerate that much honesty, they want a bit more politeness, are the ones that then aren't in her life. So I do admire it. I do like the kinds of things that she gets away with saying. I'm also the kind of person where, if someone has done something a bit hurtful, I'm the kind of person who has to go back and think about it and maybe write a strongly worded email. I can't respond in the moment sometimes because it shocked me what they've said. Aria, though, she will say it back. She will right away have something to say, and I really like that and admire that, and I wish I could do it. She does shock me, because she gets. There are times when I go back and I'm editing something, and I do laugh out loud at the things, at some of the things she says. She's so dismissive about her ex-boyfriend Craig, for example. That she really makes me laugh on that. She's so dismissive. She says, she thinks he was so boring. The sex was average. He was, he's a banker. Sorry about all the bankers are great people. Sorry, but I'm just saying what Arya says. He's just so no surprises there with Craig. He's really boring. So I love that. She makes me laugh. Yeah, when I go back to her.
Excellent. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this conversation. Welcome, Patricia. Welcome, JD. Welcome, Vicky. Welcome, Rebecca. Welcome, Carol. Welcome, Wendy. Welcome, Terry. I hope I didn't miss anything. Welcome, Mark Jute. Great to have you. Welcome, Sally. Welcome, everybody. Jeanette, Stephanie. Fabulous to see you all here. Let us know if you have any questions for Amita. I am loving every bit of this conversation. Amita, another review that I loved was by Booklist. This one raving a captivating blend of mystery and romance that explores themes of diversity and social dysfunction with subtlety and empathy, but also with wacky, sometimes ribald humor, offbeat, irreverent, funny, and boasting a broad, multifaceted plot. This one will appeal to fans who enjoy quirky, genre-defying reads. What an incredible review from Booklist. I think that one may be my favorite because it really captures the heart of Aria Winters, I thought, and your style, your Amita-ness, that sort of unique energy that you bring to the page and to the stage, and all of the multifaceted, like a diamond, many surfaced elements that are in this book. So let's take this bit by bit. I'm just going to pop it up quickly because otherwise they can't see us. What do you think is the key? Because I love to laugh. I mean, it's like the best thing ever. So, but it's very hard to be funny on the page, isn't it? Because otherwise you try and you're like, but splat. What do you think the key is to being truly funny, to writing ribald humor on the page? How are you funny, Amita?
Thanks, Sarah. It's a weird one, actually, because I have slightly the opposite problem in that when I'm really enjoying something, the kind of the humor, humor is where I go naturally. So it's a weird one because I woke up the other day with this plot in my head of a great psychological suspense novel. I was like, oh, that would be amazing. And blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, that won't be funny. And I've tried before. I've tried to write novels which are just a bit more kind of serious or possibly gothic, or possibly they've got the psychological suspense thing going on. But I think I will have to find a way to write, even if I'm writing psychological suspense, it'll still come with a dash of quirky kind of wacky humor, because I don't think I enjoy it. And otherwise, and there is that. I think that we are, what do we laugh at? We laugh at surprises. So I think Aria is very surprising. The things she comes up with are quite surprising. This is actually, I'm talking way ahead. I'm talking in book 3, but there's a part where something like, I can't remember exactly what the line is, okay, because I haven't edited that book. That's a further along Aria book, so I haven't really edited it since I wrote it. But something along the lines of a man saying to her, "Do you ever think of anything other than sex?" And she says something like, better men than you have perished on the whatever of this question. So don't ask me that one. Like I don't know the answer. And what do you mean? What else do you think about? And so to me, she's surprising, but she's also she's the kind of person sometimes that says things that we only think to ourselves, things about loneliness, things about sex, things about desire, things about someone else being a bit boring. These are things we don't articulate. We perhaps to someone we're close to, we can, but we keep it to ourselves. And Aria will say them. And I think that's quite funny. I suppose just how opinionated she is. She's got opinions, she's the next door neighbor is too needy, and the other one is too something else, and she's so opinionated. But she's also she doesn't like it when she's blunt either. That's the weird thing. She will be blunt. She can't help it. She wants to be forthright and honest. But then she does worry that she's hurt someone. She does, and she hates it. And then she backs off and possibly hurts them more just to back off quicker. So she's a weird one. But she can be abrasive. I think over the course of 3 books, there will be further ones in the series, but the ones I've written, she does learn, she grows as a character a lot in those 3 books. She learns about closeness and getting hurt, and trust is a big one. She has to learn about trust. She was left by her parents when she was really little, and she was rejected by them for being weird and too anxious, and I think for her, trust is a huge big deal. She has to learn to trust. And so over the course of 3 books, she doesn't completely change as a character. Definitely not. We don't, do we? But she learns a little bit more about trust and about closeness.
Lisa's book critiques described Aria as a train wreck. Would you describe Aria as a train wreck? Do you think of her that way?
Oh, she does tend to, destroy things in her wake sometimes.
Were you offended by that, or were you
no,
like,
not at all, not at all.
Okay.
No, not at all. I think that's a good description. No, I wasn't at all. I think that she has a self-destructive streak, I'd say that. And we all do, don't we? We all go against our best interests at times, because we'll like what I was saying earlier, like a small instance is like if you should go to an event, which then you talk yourself out of, say, maybe you should have gone, maybe it would have been really good for you to meet loads of people, who knows. So we do go against our best interests at times. So does Aria. Aria can definitely get in her own way at times, but she's also a survivor. She's strong. She did survive her parents kind of abandoning her. She had a great bond with her auntie. She has built a business for herself, a baking. She bakes kind of crazy evil cakes. They're not evil really, but they look evil because they're kind of Halloweeny cakes. She is strong, and she likes that strength, but she doesn't know when closeness with someone will get in the way of that strength or will add to that strength. So I think she can be quite self-destructive at times, but I think we all have to learn, how do we meet our own needs? I think we don't know that. We have to learn as we get older.
I love that, and I totally agree. As the older I get, the more in tune I get with my needs, and the more aware I become of what my non-negotiables are. And I have the courage now to advocate for myself and to draw those boundaries that even if I had realized it in my 20s, I wouldn't have had the courage to be able to do, because I wasn't there yet in myself. Yeah. I totally agree. USA Today best-selling author Gigi Pandian raved quirky, witty, and macabre. This lighthearted romp through Aria Winter's English Village is filled with enough humor and charm to delight any mystery fan. Absolutely fabulous review there. And I want to remind everybody that this book is out, and you can grab it today and support a woman-owned bookstore, The Amazing Murder by the Book. So treat yourself during this holiday season. Put something good in your stocking. We have time for 1, maybe 2 more questions for Amita. So if you have any last questions, get them going in the comments. And in my Facebook group, Mystery and Thriller Mavens, I let people submit questions in advance. And this is one of my favorite that came in. If you had to be stuck on a desert island with any of the characters from any of your books, who would it be and why? Sorry, 2 characters. Who would it be and why?
Well, the funny thing is, the first character that came into mind when you said that, I thought was actually Branwell, because he's quite cute, he's sexy, he's caring, what can go wrong? And then when you said 2, I thought, well, wouldn't it be Bran and Arya? And then I thought, but then I'd be the third wheel, and that wouldn't be good, right? Because they'll get together, and then who am I supposed to be with? That won't work. So if it's going to be Arya and Bran, I'll need another one. I'll need somebody else there. But if it's only one, probably, Bran is quite good. Arya is great. But I think there's a very caring side to the love interest. You know, love interests are so important, right? The female readers have to fall in love with the love interest, otherwise there's just no, right? That's the chemistry you have to feel.
I feel like with Branwell, he would be eye candy. So you have no TV on the island. You've got no books.
That's
you
right.
need something nice to look at, don't you?
Yeah.
And also, if you have to build yourself some sort of housing, he's strong, strapping. He could carry the housing materials too and help you, you know, lash them together with palm fronds or something. Like he could help build the shelter.
These
thinking
two
ahead.
points that you've made are perfect. Yes, you look good and you're handy. You know, that's really, really important. And I have to say, especially for me, because I'm so ridiculously sometimes I'll do silly things like I don't want to talk to the gas company people. I don't want to talk to the, you know, the electric. I like it's like you know, that's going to be like a really horrible conversation. So it's that kind of thing. You need somebody like Bran who'll be like, I'll talk to them for you, darling. You know, you do need that sometimes. You do need that. And he'd build stuff. He's good at building stuff, I bet.
Exactly.
He's muscly.
I'm going to need that if I'm on the island.
Yes, he's good at the fun stuff. Yeah, I think if it's one character, maybe him. I actually really also like in that book, I really like Veronica Chives, who is this American woman. I love her. She has this frozen custard business. And so you know, so if you imagine like a swirly lovely usually vanilla ice cream, but make it frozen custard ice cream. So she does that, and she does flavors, and she does all kinds of stuff. And she is another woman. I think she's so strong. She's built her own business. She lives by herself. She's not ashamed of any part of her. She's just open. Different from Arya. Arya can still feel quite a lot of shame or guilt about hurting someone. She can still feel those things. Veronica, though, you know, Veronica is just so one of my favorite lines of hers. So she's very you know, she's this big character, and she wants to hug you, and she wants to be close to you, and she's just really open. And there's a line in the book where Arya's been talking to her, and Arya's now leaving, and Veronica's like, you know, about to give her a hug, and Arya's like, Veronica, I don't do hugs. And Veronica laughs her head off and says, "Oh, honey, and I don't do it doggy style." You know, so she just kind of that is Veronica to me. You know, she just is just this effusive, wonderful character. I love her. She'd be fun. She'd be fun to have around. She's good. Yeah.
A lot of good options for you, Amita.
Yeah.
Well, I see we are out of time, everybody. But Amita, thank you so much for coming on. What a pleasure to have you live from London, giving us the inside scoop on Arya Winters. And again, the book is out now, Arya Winters and the Tiramisu of Death. Grab it and get ready to laugh as you follow Arya's adventures and solving the mystery. I will be back tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific with Karen Oden and her historical thriller taking place in London. It's all about London today. So join me then. These are our last two events of the year, and then have a very wonderful holiday season, everybody. And I will see you back in January, but tonight at 7 p.m. Amita,
thank you. Can I say thank you as well, Sarah? Thank you so much. You were absolutely fantastic as a host, and you're just so lovely to chat to. And thank you so much for all your questions and listening, everyone. Really lovely to have you and spend time with you. Love it. Thank you, and hope everyone has a safe festive season. Really, more than anything else, relaxing and safe and loving.
Yay! Thank you so much, and can't wait to have you back when your next book is out. Yay! Okay, bye everybody. See you soon.